So there I was, staring at the company-wide email that just shattered my entire world. Clarissa, the same Clarissa who spent half her day scrolling TikTok while I pulled 60-hour weeks, just got my promotion. The promotion I'd been grinding for, bleeding for, sacrificing my weekends and my sanity for. But here's the kicker that'll make your blood boil. I found out exactly how she got it, and trust me, it had nothing to do with her work ethic. What I discovered in that conference room will change how you see office politics forever. Hey, story lover! Welcome to the Narrative Hub, Reddit Stories. Believe me, this adventure gets wild, but it's only epic with you. Seriously, you make this possible. Want more stories? Greater adventure? Smash subscribe right now. Smash like. Comment below. Let's go. A tale of two work ethics. Let me paint you a picture of what my life looked like for the past 8 months leading up to this betrayal. Every morning, I'd roll into the office at 7:30 a.m. sharp, not because I had to, but because I wanted to get ahead of the chaos. Coffee in hand, I'd already be deep into spreadsheets while most of my colleagues were still hitting snooze. Meanwhile, Clarissa? She'd stroll in around 9:15 a.m., 15 minutes late for our 9 a.m. start time every single day. And I'm not talking about the occasional tardiness we're all guilty of. This was a religious routine. She'd walk past my desk with that carefree smile, Starbucks in one hand, phone in the other, usually finishing up some personal call about weekend plans or drama with her roommate. But here's where it gets really infuriating. While I spent my lunch breaks reviewing client proposals and staying late to perfect presentations, Clarissa treated the office like her personal social club. I watched her spend entire afternoons scrolling through Instagram, watching TikTok videos, and not quietly either. The sound was always just loud enough that you could hear those annoying trending songs bleeding through her cheap earbuds. The grind, my blood, sweat, and tears. The Morrison account, that was going to be my golden ticket. A multi-million-dollar client that had been on the verge of walking away from our company. The project was hemorrhaging money, deadlines were flying by like speeding bullets, and our entire department's reputation was hanging by a thread. So what did I do? I became a machine. I'm talking about 14-hour days, working through weekends, canceling dinner plans with friends, and basically living on energy drinks and determination. My girlfriend started leaving voicemails instead of calling because she knew I'd be buried in work. My mom stopped asking when I'd visit because she knew the answer would always be after this project. I restructured the entire client relationship from the ground up. I created new workflows, developed fresh marketing strategies, and personally called every single stakeholder to rebuild trust. There were nights I'd fall asleep at my desk and wake up with keyboard marks on my face. My back was killing me, my eyes were constantly bloodshot, and I was probably running on about 4 hours of sleep per night. But you know what? It worked. The Morrison account not only stayed, they signed a 3-year extension worth $4.2 million. Our department went from being the company's biggest liability to its crown jewel, and it was all because I refused to let it fail. The slacker, Clarissa's contributions. Now let me tell you what Clarissa was doing during this same period. One Tuesday afternoon, I kid you not, I found her literally asleep at her desk. Not just resting her eyes full on, mouth open, soft snoring asleep. This was at 2 p.m. on a weekday, in full view of anyone walking by. When she was awake, her version of working involved sending emails that somehow turned a simple yes or no question into a 3-paragraph saga about nothing. She had this incredible talent for looking busy while accomplishing absolutely zero. She'd shuffle papers around, type loudly on her keyboard, and nod seriously during meetings while contributing nothing of substance. The Morrison Project? Her biggest contribution was forwarding emails I'd sent her to other people, literally just hitting forward and adding FYI before sending my work to clients and colleagues. She took credit by association, riding the coattails of my sleepless nights and weekend sacrifices. I remember one particularly infuriating moment when she showed up to a crucial client meeting 20 minutes late, of course, and proceeded to present ideas that were directly from a document I'd shared with the team the week before. She didn't even change the wording. Just stood there confidently pitching my concepts like they were her brainchildren. The announcement, when dreams die. Fast forward to last Tuesday, the day that changed everything. I was expecting the promotion announcement, had been for weeks. My performance reviews were stellar, the Morrison's success was still fresh, and honestly, I thought it was just a formality at this point. Then that email landed in my inbox at 3:47 p.m. The subject line read, "Congratulations to our newest senior account manager." My heart started racing with excitement. This was it. This was my moment. I opened the email and saw a photo of Clarissa beaming next to our boss, Mr. Henderson, both holding champagne glasses and smiling like they'd just won the lottery. The text praised her innovative approach to client relations and exceptional leadership during challenging projects. I had to read it 3 times before it sank in. Clarissa. The woman who napped at her desk. The woman who couldn't be bothered to show up on time. The woman who treated TikTok like a part-time job had just been handed the promotion I'd been killing myself for. My hands were shaking. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. All those late nights, all those missed dinners, all those weekends sacrificed for what? To watch someone else get rewarded for my work? The investigation, digging for truth. I wasn't going to just accept this lying down. Something didn't add up, and I was determined to figure out what. So I started paying closer attention, maybe a little too close for comfort, but desperate times call for desperate measures. That's when I noticed the pattern. Clarissa had been having frequent coffee meetings with Mr. Henderson. Nothing unusual there, right? Managers meet with their team members all the time. Except these weren't happening in his office or the conference room. They were happening at the trendy cafe across the street, lasting 2 hours each time and occurring way more frequently than anyone else's check-ins. I started documenting everything. The times she left for these meetings, how long she was gone, and most importantly, how her behavior changed afterward. After each coffee session, she'd come back with insider information about company decisions, upcoming projects, and strategic changes that hadn't been announced to the rest of us yet. The smoking gun, what I overheard. The breakthrough came last Friday afternoon. I was working late, shocking, I know, when I heard voices coming from the conference room. The lights were dimmed, and I thought everyone had gone home. Curiosity got the better of me, and I crept closer to listen. It was Clarissa and Mr. Henderson, and what I heard made my blood run cold. The Morrison account success really put you in the perfect position, Henderson was saying. The board loves a good comeback story, and having your name attached to that win sealed the deal. I still can't believe how perfectly it worked out, Clarissa responded with a laugh that made my skin crawl. Having someone like him do all the heavy lifting while I maintained the relationship angles was genius. My heart stopped. Relationship angles? What relationship angles? Henderson continued, your approach to client management is exactly what we need in senior leadership. That personal touch you brought to the Morrison situation, the way you connected with their team on a human level, that's what separated you from other candidates. I wanted to storm in there and demand answers, but something told me to keep listening. I have to admit, Clarissa said, I was worried about the work-life balance thing coming up. You know how some people sacrifice everything for their job and think that's the only way to succeed. But we both know it's about working smarter, not harder. The audacity was breathtaking. She was literally spinning her laziness as strategic thinking. The real strategy, networking over work. Over the next few days, I started connecting the dots. While I was buried in spreadsheets and client calls, Clarissa had been playing a completely different game. She'd been building relationships, not just with Henderson, but with key people throughout the company. I realized she knew the names of everyone's kids, remembered birthdays, asked about weekend plans, and somehow always found time for those little personal conversations that I'd been too busy to prioritize. While I was optimizing workflows, she was optimizing connections. The Morrison account wasn't just about the numbers and strategies I developed. Clarissa had apparently been having regular calls with their team, not about work, but about life. She knew about their challenges, their personal goals, their company culture. When the renewal time came, they didn't just see her as another account manager, they saw her as someone who genuinely cared about them as people. The bitter truth: skills versus politics. Here's what really hurts: Clarissa wasn't completely wrong. While I was focused on being the best at the technical aspects of the job, she was mastering the human elements. She understood something I'd completely missed: that career advancement isn't just about competence, it's about perception, relationships, and political savvy. The late nights I'd been pulling? Henderson saw them as poor time management rather than dedication. The perfect presentations I'd been crafting? He viewed them as expected baseline performance rather than exceptional effort. Meanwhile, Clarissa's ability to build rapport and maintain client relationships was seen as leadership potential. I was playing checkers while she was playing chess, and I didn't even realize we were playing different games. Swallowing the pill. The hardest part wasn't just losing the promotion, it was realizing how naive I'd been. I'd bought into this idea that hard work alone would be enough, that merit would speak for itself, that good results would naturally lead to recognition and advancement. But corporate success isn't a meritocracy. It's a complex ecosystem where relationships, timing, perception, and yes, even luck play massive roles. Technical skills and work ethic are important, but they're just the entry fee to the game, not the winning strategy. I had to sit in that Monday morning meeting and listen to Clarissa outline her vision for the department, knowing that half of her success metrics were based on work I'd done. I had to smile and nod when Henderson praised her innovative thinking, knowing those innovations came from late-night brainstorming sessions where I'd been the only one brainstorming. What this taught me: this experience shattered my worldview, but it also taught me invaluable lessons about how the professional world really works. Here's what I learned. First, relationships matter more than I ever imagined. While I was perfecting my craft, Clarissa was perfecting her network. She understood that people promote people they like and trust, not just people who produce good work. Your boss needs to see you as leadership material, and that means being someone they enjoy working with, someone who makes their job easier, someone who represents the company well in social and client-facing situations. Second, visibility is everything. My mistake was assuming that good work would automatically be recognized. But if you're always buried in the details, people forget you exist. Clarissa made sure she was visible in meetings, that her name was associated with successes, and that she was seen as the face of our department's wins. Third, working smarter really can be more valuable than working harder. While I was drowning in tasks, Clarissa was identifying the highest impact activities and focusing her energy there. She understood that time spent building relationships and understanding company politics wasn't wasted time, it was an investment in her future. An unexpected alliance. Here's where the story takes an interesting turn. About 2 weeks after Clarissa's promotion, she asked to meet with me privately. I was expecting some kind of gloating session or maybe a lecture about being a team player. Instead, she surprised me. "I know you're probably wondering how this all went down," she said, getting straight to the point. "And I know you think I don't deserve this position." I was ready with a professional response, but she held up her hand. "You're right. From a pure work output perspective, you absolutely deserve this promotion more than I did. The Morrison account's success was 90% your doing, and everyone knows it." The honesty caught me off guard. "But here's the thing," she continued. "I got this job not because I'm better at the work, but because I'm better at the game. And now that I'm in this position, I need someone who's actually good at the work. I need you. An unlikely partnership. What followed was one of the most interesting conversations of my career. Clarissa laid out her vision for our department, and it was actually good. She understood the political landscape, had relationships with key decision makers, and knew how to navigate company bureaucracy in ways I never could. But she also knew her limitations. She wasn't detail-oriented, she wasn't great at strategic planning, and she definitely couldn't deliver the kind of results I could on complex projects. She needed someone who could execute her vision with excellence. "I'm proposing a partnership," she said. "I handle the politics, the relationships, and the big picture strategy. You handle the execution, the client work, and the technical excellence. We both get what we want. I get to succeed in this role, and you get the recognition and advancement you deserve." It wasn't what I'd planned, but it made sense. And honestly, after weeks of bitterness and frustration, it felt good to have someone acknowledge my contributions directly. The bigger picture, redefining success. This whole experience forced me to redefine what success means in the corporate world. I used to think it was simple: work hard, produce good results, get promoted. But real success requires understanding the full ecosystem you're operating in. Technical skills are crucial, but they're not sufficient. You need to understand company culture, build relationships with decision makers, communicate your value effectively, and yes, sometimes play political games you wish didn't exist. The most successful people aren't necessarily the ones who work the hardest or produce the best work. They're the ones who understand how to leverage their strengths, build strategic relationships, and position themselves for opportunities. The resolution: moving forward. 6 months later, our partnership has actually worked out better than I expected. Clarissa has been true to her word. She's made sure I get credit for my contributions. She's recommended me for high-visibility projects, and she's been preparing me for the next promotion cycle. I've learned to play the game better too. I make time for relationship building, I speak up more in meetings, and I've started thinking strategically about my career instead of just focusing on the task at hand. The promotion I wanted so badly? I'll probably get it next cycle, and this time I'll be better prepared for it. I'll have the technical skills and the political savvy to succeed in a leadership role. The takeaway: what this means for you. If you're watching this and thinking about your own career, here's what I want you to remember. Hard work is necessary, but not sufficient. You need to work hard and work smart. You need to deliver excellent results and build relationships. You need to master your craft and understand the game being played around you. Don't make my mistake of assuming merit alone will carry you forward. Pay attention to company culture, invest time in relationships with colleagues and supervisors, and make sure your contributions are visible to decision makers. And if you find yourself in a situation like mine, watching someone less qualified get rewarded while your efforts go unrecognized, don't just get angry. Get strategic. Understand what you missed, learn from it, and use that knowledge to position yourself better for future opportunities. The corporate world isn't always fair, but it is predictable once you understand the rules. And now that I understand them, I'm ready to win.